The evening sky burned amber over Central Park West. As Catherine Green stood barefoot by her window, watching New York pulse with restless light. Yellow taxis streamed below. A saxophone cried somewhere in the distance. The city felt alive. Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Instead, her stomach tightened. As her phone screen glowed in her hand. "My mother wants to have dinner with you tonight. It is important." The message was from Michael. Dinner. The night before the wedding. Every instinct told her. This was not about celebration. It was about judgment. Michael Hartwell had swept into her life. With music and certainty. A gifted violinist. A man whose melodies at Lincoln Center once made her believe destiny had a soundtrack. But his family was another story. The Hartwells did not simply live on Park Avenue. They ruled it. Generations of professors, patrons, collectors. Old money wrapped in polished manners. Irene Hartwell, renowned art historian, carried herself like a museum piece. No one was allowed to touch. Alexander, her husband, a respected Juilliard professor. Kind but quiet. Always watching. Rarely speaking. Kate glanced at the clock. 6:30. No time to argue. She slipped into a rose-colored dress, pinned her chestnut hair into a soft twist, and looked at her reflection. "You are not auditioning," she whispered. "You are enough." The Hartwell townhouse felt more like a gallery than a home. Marble floors echoed beneath her heels. Portraits stared from gold frames. Crystal chandeliers cast a golden glow. That felt beautiful. And cold at the same time. Michael opened the door. He smiled. But it did not reach his eyes. "Thank you for coming," he said softly. His hand felt warm. Nervous. Irene waited in the parlor, draped in burgundy silk and pearls that shimmered like armor. "Catherine, my dear," she said smoothly. "How lovely to see you before the big day." "Lovely." Kate smiled politely. "It is my pleasure." Dinner was served beneath a chandelier that looked imported from a European palace. Roast duck. Crystal glasses. Silver polished to perfection. The air smelled of rosemary. And expectation. Conversation flowed lightly at first. Art exhibits in Paris. A recent recital in Boston. Philanthropy events in Manhattan. Then the questions sharpened. "Tell us about your family," Irene said. "My father works with the United Nations," Kate replied evenly. "My mother teaches linguistics at McGill." "Ah," Irene murmured. "Cosmopolitan." The word sounded like a category. Michael shifted in his chair. Then Irene set down her glass. "Our family has a tradition," she said gently. "Every woman who joins the Hartwells demonstrates cultural readiness." Cultural readiness. Kate felt her pulse quicken. "A test?" she asked calmly. "Symbolic," Alexander offered. "A measure of grace, intellect, and heritage," Irene corrected. The room grew very quiet. French phrases were offered. Poetry references. Subtle traps disguised as elegance. Kate answered each one fluently. Years of study. Years of interviews with diplomats and historians. She refused to shrink. Then came the final request. In French, Irene said softly. "Tell us what kind of wife you intend to be." Kate inhaled. In steady Parisian French, she spoke of partnership. Of warmth. Of mutual respect. Of building legacy through kindness, not hierarchy. Silence followed. Alexander nodded faintly. Irene's smile thinned. The wedding the next day was beautiful. City Hall elegance. Champagne toasts. Music drifting across Central Park. Michael played one last piece on his violin. For a moment, Kate remembered why she loved him. But love feels fragile when it must survive approval. That evening, Irene insisted on another gathering. Family tradition, she said. This time, more relatives watched. An audience. Wine poured. Compliments floated. Edges cut. Then Irene rose. One final exercise, she announced. A velvet box appeared. Inside, a letter from generations past. You will respond in French, Irene said. Describing how you will raise future Hartwells. Michael stiffened. Kate accepted the pen. Her handwriting flowed calmly across the page. She wrote about equality. About compassion. About teaching children that dignity is not inherited through blood, but practiced through behavior. When she translated the final line aloud, her voice did not waver. True refinement is measured by the respect we give others. Silence pressed in. Irene's knuckles whitened. Days later, tensions deepened. Private words shared publicly. Subtle humiliations disguised as concern. One evening in the parlor, Irene finally said it plainly. You will never truly belong here. Kate's heartbeat thundered. But her voice remained steady. Belonging should not require surrendering who I am. Michael stood in the doorway. Silent. That silence broke something inside her. Because love without courage cannot protect you. She left that night with tears on her cheeks and dignity in her spine. The cold Manhattan air felt sharper, cleaner. At her parents' apartment in Midtown, she allowed herself to grieve. Not just the marriage, but the version of love she thought she had. Weeks passed. Whispers traveled through social circles. Some called her dramatic. Others called her brave. She returned to her work. Writing. Interviewing. Exploring culture, class, identity. Her words grew stronger. One essay went viral across the United States. Its final line read, True elegance is not about the room you enter, but how you make others feel inside it. Letters poured in. From women in Chicago. From teachers in Texas. From young professionals in California. They thanked her for saying what they were afraid to say. Months later, a quiet call came from Alexander. His voice sounded older. Irene has passed, he said. He paused. I kept your letter. It reminded me what grace truly looks like. Kate closed her eyes. She felt no victory. Only peace. She had lost a marriage. But she had kept herself. And in America, where ambition is loud, and image is everything, self-respect is the rarest currency of all. The moral is clear. Love must defend you. Tradition must evolve. And no last name, no townhouse, no chandelier is worth shrinking your soul. If this story resonated with you, if you have ever been asked to prove your worth, to earn respect that should have been freely given, comment dignity below. Share this with someone who needs the reminder that real class comes from character. And follow for more stories that honor strength, self-respect, and the courage to stand tall.